Hey yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to Yo a Nerd, and I'm back with another conversation with creators. And today I have Midnight Comics on. What's good, y'all?
What's going on, yo?
Hello.
Hey, so can you give a quick introduction about yourself and your comic book company?
Yeah, of course, as you guys know, I'm Lloyd,
And I'm Tasha, and we're Midnight
Midnight Comics,
Comics.
and of course, well, we've been in business has 3 years, going on four now, and we've had the opportunity to create a plethora of stories, ranging from superheroes, supernatural, manga, the whole round robin there,
So much more coming.
and a lot more coming.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. So, how did you guys get into making comics? How did you guys get started?
Oh, did you want that one?
I want to hear what you said.
Okay, well, how we got started. So we've always written, right? Initially, I guess I wanted to be in game design. I was writing video game stories.
Yeah, and I
Um,
was more
and you were
poetry
more
and
poetry.
novels.
Right. And then what we ended up doing, I love doing what ifs and fan fictions and stuff like that. So I found myself doing a lot of those. Really, we found ourselves doing a lot of those when it came to shows like Naruto, one of the ones that we talk about plenty. Like, we just never agreed with that ending, right? And so we got to a point where we're just like, why do we keep doing what ifs and how we would have done it with other people's shows?
Hmm.
How about we start writing stories that have characters that look like us and stories in the direction that we would much rather
Right.
go?
We said we're tired of them being scared to take chances, so we can take
Hmm.
our own chances.
Right. Hold on. Sorry, children.
Okay, I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, we just kind of went from there, and that's kind of how we initially kind of moved forward with the idea of writing our own stories. Like, okay, now what would we do? How would our stories progress? How would we take chances and not come up with some MacGuffin to fix everything up at the last second? So yeah.
Smart.
Right,
So,
Naruto, Dragon Ball, all that stuff.
what was the first story that y'all started writing?
Hmm.
I want to say last day.
Technically, the last day would be the first one.
Yeah.
When
Most.
we first started, the first roster of stories was Last Day, Unbeloved, Dogma, and
And
Admani. Yeah,
yeah.
so she was the
Last
only
day.
superhero character that we had at the time.
Right.
But the first one, The Last Day, I started writing that in high school, 2006. So definitely predates a lot of these
Right.
stories.
Somehow those just weren't the first ones to come out.
Right.
Right. I mean, that happens. I understand as a creator. Like my first story didn't come out. It wasn't the first one to come out.
Mhm.
So with that, so what are some of the reasons that your first story that you wrote wasn't the one that came out first? Like what pushed those other stories ahead?
Um, the concise the concise answer for that would be we saw what was hot at the time, right? A lot of people were looking for superheroes. We wanted to see some black superheroes and dive into some mythology at the same time, hence like Soul. Always loved vigilante characters, so hence the Blue Morphle, right? Batman way back when was my favorite character, but also diving into, and one of the things that we capture, I think Tasha captures great in The Gray and at Monty, is that characters that behind the mask, dealing with who the person is, and I think we captured that better in these more recent stories, the stories that we got in Tales from Midnight One, that we weren't quite getting in the stories that technically were written prior to. Because that's the focus. We want to focus on who that person is, not just the villain of the week. All right, wrap it up.
Mhm.
Who is that character? What are they struggling through? And whether they have powers or not, how are they overcoming those obstacles? And just somehow we were capturing that way better with our superhero characters than we were with them, in my personal opinion.
I think it's a mix of that, and I think we were having a hard time really getting the outline and the story written for some of them as
Mhm.
well. And the superhero one just kind of came.
Yeah. So yeah, mix of that, and of course, we saw what was hot and was like, all right, let's get it.
Right.
So what was the first comic that you guys put out?
Tales from actually, the Unbeloved, our manga series was the first one that came out. Um, yeah, that was yeah. Chapter 0 and chapter 1 actually dropped a dang near a year before Tales from Midnight.
Yeah. Now, if we're talking about traditional comics, then yeah, it'd be the Tales from
Then
Midnight,
Tales from Midnight,
which
yeah.
is the anthology series. It has
Four
multiple
stories, right?
comics inside of it.
Right. But yeah, the manga came first only because we couldn't find a an artist at the time that was going to capture. Well, we were looking for four different artists for Tales from Midnight at first, and then we just ended up finding one who was just like, all right, let's get it going. But shout out to Serge DeLima, by the way. He was the one that actually did the art for Tales from Midnight 1. But yeah, we found the artist on Fiverr for The Unbeloved, and we've been working with him since 2019. He's just been
Awesome.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. He cannot be replaced. Shout out to Pan. But yeah, awesome dude.
Yeah. So speaking about artists, how do you guys as creators go about finding artists, and once you do find artists, how do you initiate that conversation with them?
You want that one?
You can take the initiation. I don't know. There are
Okay.
so many ways we find artists, honestly. Of course, we found our first artist through Fiverr. We've had other artists recently that we found through Fiverr, but then other creators in the space will give us recommendations for artists. Like when we were first looking for comic book style artists, when we first met Concrete, we went through them and said, "Hey, who are you guys using?" And
Who do you recommend?
Lonzo gave us recommendations, and then from there, the deeper you get into the space, the more you start to find the artists, because then they all of a sudden seem like they're everywhere. It's like, oh, we just needed to immerse ourselves into the community.
Right.
That's what we needed.
Right. And so kind of initiating those conversations, honestly, first, at least now in the latter half, I guess, if you would, is asking who all, who's worked with this person, right? Like, hey, okay, I see mutuals and stuff. What was it like working with them? What is that time frame and stuff like that? So I have an idea of what I'm getting into. And then say, hey, such and such recommended you, or hey, I seen your work, love your work. Here's what I'm thinking about working on. Is this something that you'd be interested in? Right? Because one of the things that I like that we've been so lucky is that quite a few of the artists that we work with are so invested in the story.
Right.
And even if you find an artist that the artwork is just perfect, if they're not invested, personally,
enjoy it.
Personally, I wouldn't, again, initiating that conversation, I'm just like, is this something that you'd like to work on? It's like, not really quite my genre. I don't really quite like this, that, or the third. Right. Hey, not a problem. But our goal when initiating those conversations is really, truly trying to find somebody that loves the story. And we give them options, right? Like, hey, we're looking for artists for this, and this. Which one do you like, and do you think, fits you, your personality, your what you're looking for, so on and so forth. And we allow them that opportunity, which again, when we give them creative freedom to do certain things, it just hits that much better. So just initiating the conversation by asking, what is it that they like? We see the art, we know what we like about them, but what do you like? So that, not to ramble on, but yeah, what do you like is really what we're going to it with.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you guys as creators, you guys are a couple that are creators. So how do you navigate like this crazy comic book world, this every day to day, and still, be a couple and also parents?
That's loaded.
It was easy until
it was easy
put the parents in there.
Yeah.
That part is I don't work. We have different strengths.
Yes,
and
very
that
much so.
helps.
Yeah.
Not to say we don't clash.
That we do.
Because we do. But we definitely have different strengths, and it helps balance out. I don't know how to answer the parent part.
We had a very interesting experience at BlurredCon because, going to conventions first off, logistically, and having 3 kids is tough. But this time around, we had to take one of them with us.
Which
and
will probably end up happening more often.
So it's a joy, of course, to get them into the space and what have you. But man, it's tiring. It could be stressful. But at the same time, we try to look at it and say, hey, we're giving the opportunity to see other people that look like them enjoying what it is that they love. So it's tough if we're, to speak freely, it's tough being parents in the space and trying to create. So on top of us clashing at points and, it's like, oh, I think this is a great idea for a story. And it's like, no, it kind of sucks. Oh, okay. Back to the drawing board. to, you know, finding the time to sit down and create, because
That's a
we
nice
homeschool.
example, but that one specifically never happened.
No, that one never happened. Well, there was a line that I was trying to write, and it just was
That's
not.
different.
That's different. There was like specific, not a story plot, but no, there was several story plots in Soul specifically. Story points. I was just like, Lloyd, back to the drawing board. But yeah, even trying to find the time, just, you know, the concise answer is it's tough. It's fun, but it's so tough to find the time sometimes to create. Because I was gonna say we homeschool too, so it's a 24/7 just, you know, we're on go at every moment of the day. So it's tough, but because we have our unique strengths, I think it really helps where it's just like you work on what it is that you need to in regards to business. I'll do it with the kids, and then we'll swap. And then when we have those quiet moments and those moments of inspiration and really go in, lots of energy drinks. But you know, it really happens. So
It sounds like a lot of teamwork is involved.
a lot of teamwork.
That's what's up, though. That's what's up. So you guys are one. I think you're the only people I know that are a couple that also create comics together. So when it comes to like writing the comic, do one of y'all handle more of the writing and one of you guys have the ideas, or is it more of like a 50-50 type of thing? How does that work?
So I think the ideas we just completely do.
50-50 split.
You think so? I was gonna say,
Sometimes
like,
you have ideas, sometimes I have ideas.
Okay.
And we both write.
yeah,
Most of the stories, most of the stories, both of us will outline after we
Mhm.
get the idea, and then one of us will take over the writing.
yeah,
But some of the newer stuff that we're currently working on that's not out yet, we've started co-writing.
yeah. And that's been a new experience because, like, so
That's-
like the Gray and Admani, those are her babies. Like, I helped outline the Gray, but like she's the author of the Gray, she's the author of Admani, she's the author of Blue Morpho. So I just come in and I'm like, oh man, this looks great, or is this the direction you're going? Okay, da da da. And then so same thing with like Soul and the Unbeloved, and the Last Day. Those are that's just me. But then, like she said, we have some newer stories that's going to be dropping soon, announcements coming soon, that we're finally like actually line by line writing together. Like wrote a couple, and then yeah, it that has been so fun. Actually, just like writing a whole bunch of stuff out, and then either I come behind her or she comes behind me, and it's just like, but now let's add this, that, the third. It's just like, oh, okay, I like that. But if you're gonna do that, like that has been a joy.
As long as you stay awake.
As long as I stay away, right. But yeah, so yeah, we're finally at the point where we're both actively writing stories. Before it was not design, but outline a story together, and then all right, that's your baby. I'll see you later.
Who's taking this story?
Yeah.
Who's taking that story? The other one will edit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So when you guys do work together, do you work faster together, or is it like a little longer process than when you're by yourself?
You know, the crazy thing is for these stories, it does not take long for us at all, I don't think.
I think it's about the same amount of
It's
time.
about the same amount of
We wrote that
time.
first issue of Dreamers
Pretty quick.
We already had it kind of, we knew what we wanted to happen, and then we wrote that first issue in a night.
Yeah. Right. Like working together, we got a whole first issue of that. So to give another example of how it doesn't really take us too terribly long to write stuff or create stuff, the initial concept sketches that I did for Soul, the Gray, and Blue Morpho were done in like between November and January of 2020. Their books, all inside of Tales from Midnight, was out September 2021. So they weren't even a year old yet by the time those books came out. So both of us working on a story specifically, yeah, you could forget about it. It's at this point, we're just trying to get to a point where we can pay the artists more or pay more artists more consecutively. Like I want all of our stories being worked on at the same time, which as a creator yourself, you know that is money. But I want to be able to have multiple stories in the pocket, not even coming out. I want stories just in the back burner where it's like, yeah, we're talking about, you know, Soul issue 2, but Soul issue 3 and 4, that's done. I got sample copies sitting right next to me. Like that's where I want to be at. So, but in regards to writing, that's exactly where we are at, honestly. Especially together.
So you've got issues up to 8
written?
11 written. Excuse me, I'm back months ago.
And then the Gray.
Yes, I have 10 issues written.
10 issues of the Gray written. So yeah, like we are. It's just a matter of getting the funding to get everything drawn out, but we're so far ahead writing wise.
Yeah. That's why I think we have the time to be like, what are some of these other story ideas we want to work on? Let's work on those for a little bit, something different while we
Right.
just take a
While we
break from
wait.
those.
So yeah, update. We're taking a break from some of these stories, but
Right.
again, we're so far ahead. Unbeloved, chapter 11 is already done. Again, like she said, Soul, issue 11, Gray, issue 10, Blue Morpho. Where are we at? Like
I have
7 or 8?
like 8, which is the whole first arc.
So all these initial stories that you guys have seen already are so far ahead writing wise. It's just a matter of getting it drawn out.
Okay. Okay. So my next question is kind of, it may be a little bit of a personal question, but just wanted to ask y'all. So as a couple, do y'all have like certain boundaries? Like, okay, like this is our time where we're a couple. We're not comic book creators. All right. This is our time to just be us. Or is it like just y'all just kind of manage it?
Not enough.
You say what?
Not enough.
No, not enough at all. No, you got this one.
We need those times.
We do need those times.
We don't take enough times.
No.
And we definitely don't set those times aside as much as we should.
No.
We try.
That we do. Yeah, it's always work, parenting,
Bed.
Or gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, to answer your question, yeah, couples time, it just always accidentally takes a back seat.
Yeah.
And so at least we really like we're really in love with what we do. So that almost kind of turns into the couple time, but it's still work at the same time. So there's it's really tough turning off this because when we get to the creating space and it's what we want to do, it's like, well, we're doing what we love with who we love. So it's like it is couple time, but we're learning more recently, or we're finally accepting and realizing, like kind of like how you asked us now, just yeah, like although it's fun and it's what we want to do, we do got to remember this is not everything. Work isn't everything. So no, yeah, it's tough. So no, we don't. We're always on go. We're always parenting or creating. So
or
yeah,
in the gym.
Or in the gym.
One of those things in the gym.
But yeah,
or at rehearsal.
Right. So we're always
Or
working.
auditioning.
We're always working.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that.
That's good though. That's good though. But it seems like, you guys are still managing everything, keeping it pushing. So that's always good.
Yeah.
So my next question for y'all is one of my favorite questions to ask. It kind of like digs into being a creator. And this one is, I want to know your highs and lows of being a comic book creator, whether it's being a black comic book creator or just a comic book creator or a female creator. Just like some of your experiences that have been like your highs and your lows. You can start whichever one you want to.
You want me to go first? You want to go first? Okay. Highs. We'll start with the positive. So we went to DreamCon 2 years ago. And we went to DreamCon 2 years ago. We had a couple. Well, I guess she was by herself with her friend at this point in time, and she was so excited about Skate. She was so excited.
I thought her boyfriend was with her.
She was with her friend. They had the Playboy cosplay going, and they were so excited to just kind of see us pursue our passions, a couple pursuing their passions and stuff. And then to see them last year and come up to the table and say, we're vending this year, and you're one of the reasons why. You guys inspired us to proceed with our passions and just do it, right? And so that was a high point where it's just like, oh, we're in the space where we're supposed to be. This was the whole point. We want to inspire others to pursue their passions. We want to tell stories so that people can see themselves doing any and everything. We want to inspire the next generation of creatives, of readers, and all this other stuff again to see themselves outside of their current circumstance. So that was such a high point, for sure, as a creator, as a Black creator, all of that. Lows, going to our local comic book shop. We live in Georgia, and we live, I kid you not, 5 minutes down the street from Not Us Country. I think that's the nice way to say it. So I go to a comic book shop, and I kid you not, I have called every comic book shop whose number was available on Google. And on the phone, I sound great. if you catch what I'm saying. I sound wonderful, especially with the
That's
name.
years of customer
Years of
service.
customer service, especially with a name like Lloyd Stanley Jones III. Oh my God. They were eating it up. It was like, please come to our shop. I want to see what you got to offer me. Absolutely. I know I have a customer base. Like, what kind of stories? I'm like, I got stories ranging from superheroes, supernatural. I've got a manga series. We don't have a manga series in here, but I'll take one. Come on down. All right, bet. The entire day of us driving to comic book shops. The first one we went to,
Bless you.
I kid you not. I walk in the door. He sees me with the comic books in hand, and he goes, not a word. I'm like, well, we talked on the phone a little while ago. Lloyd Stanley Jones. Now you asked me to come in. Just say,
Crazy.
did not speak a word to me. This was it. Just like, what is that, Band of Steel, when he was just like, that was it. Nope.
Okay.
Then the next one that we went to, Buddy said, oh, I might have a couple black guys that like that, but not enough to warrant me actually buying any of your comics from my store. Flat out like that. And I'll never forget that. And I'm just like, wow. Wow. Very, very disheartening. And I was just like, is it even possible to get anything down here? Of course it is. Of course it is. But it was definitely a low point, for sure. Very frustrating. But then, if I'm to end on a positive in regards to this, in regards to me here, there's the Nubian bookstore up the street from us who I walked in, I showed them my books, our books. I'm so sorry. I either go saying y'all and including everybody, or I just say me, 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 me. I apologize. But Nubian bookstore up the street from us. Guy saw me with comic books. I said, yeah, here we are. Me and my wife will make this, da, 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 da. And he said, yeah, I'll take 5 of each. I was like, oh, just like that? Just like that. No questions asked. Call me next month and I'll let you know if I still got some more in the shop. And we have been back since, and he's taken more. And so if I'm to end on a positive, that was kind of a high point. I'm sorry for rambling on so long, you guys.
I'm wondering if I should end positively and begin negatively.
Yeah, do the opposite.
Okay, because we want to end on positive.
End on positive.
I'll be in a good mood. I'm gonna keep people's names out of stuff, but low points are just as amazing as the space is. Everybody ain't great. People can be negative, people can be ugly and hateful and disrespectful, and it happens a lot more than it should.
Yeah.
And that's a low point when people that you meet that you are thinking, oh man, I really like your stuff, either like snub you or disrespect you or things like that. And I think I'm taking things that have happened to him more personally because that's my husband. And when you disrespect my husband, you disrespect me.
Right.
So like things, yeah, just stuff like that. It's like we're all creatives, we're all trying to do essentially the same thing as far as our mission and our goals. Everybody should be able to work together to a certain extent.
Mm.
So just some people's disrespect in the space is a low point because it really sucks when we can't all come together.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take your high point, so I'm going to take a different high point. It was actually this past weekend for me. I'm going to preface this with saying that people love to see Black women characters on the front of comic books, but don't often care when there are Black women behind those. Like, no offense, it just men will write women characters because we need to see more Black women characters and people will gravitate to it. But somehow a Black woman there will keep you from still going to look at it. So it was interesting for me this weekend to see a plethora of Black women come up to me and be like, which story did you write? I want that one. It's like, well, I wrote that one and that one. I want that. That one's more interesting to me. I want that one. And so Sunday specifically at BlurredCon was really busy for me because I had a lot of people coming up to get the books that I write specifically because they saw me. And that was really cool. And it also helps me to be like, I'm going to keep on this initiative that I have going because, of course, I have my podcast, Melanin Minds, where I focus on Black women in the comic book and manga space because it's really important to me that we get the recognition we deserve in this space because we're so little and so not recognized. So just seeing other Black women come up to me this weekend and be like, I want your books. because I see a Black woman writing Black women, and I know that I'm going to get the authenticity I need from that. And I want to take a picture with you, and I want to hug, all that. That was really awesome. Maybe not as many hugs happened. I'm not a very touchy person, but but that was cool.
Hey, I actually really like that answer because if you don't mind, I would like to go more into like you as a female writer in the space. So as like you said, me myself, I actually have a black female character that I wrote, and I agree that you don't get the same authenticity that you get when a male writes it and that you would get when a female writes it. So I was wondering like with you, like how do you feel about when males write female characters? Like, what is like your opinion on that? And you don't gotta worry about hurting my feelings at all. I want you to be completely honest with how you feel about it.
Well, first off, to preface, I love Laura Lee, so you're good. But we have talked about this on the podcast before. When men write Black women specifically, it is very important to talk to women in your life. Whether you have a co-writer, a woman editor, you talk to your mom, your sister, your cousin, somebody, just to help you understand a little bit more of the way that we react in life, the way that we go through life. Because of course, as a Black woman, we're literally a lot of times the lowest on the totem pole.
Right.
And that's not to say that we can't still have varying personalities. Like we're saying with other stuff, we are not a monolith. There are Black women who are strong, independent women. There are Black women who are soft. A lot of us deal with mental health issues, so trauma, anger. There are just some who are just having fun. There are alternative Black women. Like, we exist in every facet of society,
Mhm.
and we exist in certain ways that sometimes mirror each other, but sometimes come across differently. So the advice that we always have is just make sure you talk to a Black woman. They don't have to write your story. It's your story. That's fine. But even like with Anaji, when he first started writing Odina, his whole thing he said is he talked to his mom and his sisters first. Then he wrote the story. And I respect that.
Yep.
Great. I love that answer. I love that answer. So with you guys also being, black creators, how has the space been welcoming to you?
The space as a whole, yeah, for the most part, yes. There have been hiccups along the way, for sure. As with getting into any space. But yeah, not 9 times out of 10, it's been a very welcoming space. We've gotten a lot of advice from others. I do have to take a moment and definitely shout out the whole crew at Concrete Comics. Because when we first got into the space, we were fish out of water. And we got spoiled. Artist wise, we got spoiled. Again, if we talk about our artist from the manga, he does line art and lettering for a ridiculous price. And it's like, whoa, right? This is gonna be great. Everybody's like this. No, we didn't realize inker, penciler, inker, colorist, letterer, he was an all-in-one package. That's not the norm. And when Lonzo told us about Surge and some of the other artists that they utilize, it kind of eased us into what to expect on that end of things. So of course, very helpful, kind of gateway and stuff like that. But that's the short answer. Let me not ramble. Let me not ramble. 9 times out of 10, yes. Very helpful, very welcoming. Nothing's perfect, but there's always good and stuff. There we go.
We've made family.
Made so many family. Yeah.
So
there we go. I have a tendency to ramble. I'm so sorry.
Fine. That's fine. I totally understand. That's fine. And Natasha, as you as a female writer, do you think that the space has been welcoming to you?
I think for the most part, I agree 9 times out of 10 with the people we meet. Every Black woman that I have met personally in this space has been amazing. And I think that's the best part for me. Every Black woman, from Carla to Kira, Aziza, Tai, just everyone that I have met and spoken to personally, we have just like formed this bond of Black women in this space. Even some of the Barbara Brandon Croft, I had her on the podcast. Like, she is such an amazing woman, and like we've all really clicked.
That's good to hear. I like hearing that. So this next question, I really wanted to ask you guys because you guys are great on social media. Like your marketing is great, and I love it. So, so a lot of creators have this problem. I'm seeing a lot on like Twitter, Instagram. A lot of creators have this problem with marketing. So how do you guys navigate marketing, navigate the algorithms? How do you guys go about it?
She's the social media person. If I'm to say anything before she gives us this her insight, I'm the old fart here. I'm the one that's like, man, I'll talk to people in person. I hate social media, man. So, without further ado,
we do still we do still tend to stay away from Twitter. I can't Twitter. It
Right.
just never makes sense to me. Since its inception, I've just been lost. But Instagram or TikTok and a little bit of Facebook, I could do that. We were able to really grow on Instagram at a good time when the algorithm and stuff wasn't as confusing.
Mhm.
And it's like, hey, you get a trending sound, you get a good reel, da da da. And we did a lot of that, and that helped us grow pretty quickly. And of course, now everything is getting suppressed because Instagram. So it doesn't reach as far, but when it does reach the right audience, it does fairly well. But yeah, just I don't I do what I can, but I don't like to study like the algorithm and keywords and the what's the thing?
Mm. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't like to do all that. I'm tired, but I'm making it work.
Yeah,
And I think the best thing I can always make sure we do is either somehow entertain or inform, because I know those are very important things on social media, is to either entertain or inform.
Consistency is one thing that she does that she didn't say. You are consistent.
I'm not consistent. What are you
Okay.
talking
Okay.
about?
We have highs and lows when it comes to social media.
I
And
need to
when
start.
you
I
are
need
on
to
the
start
consistent path,
scheduling stuff because I'm
that's
pretty sure
when the
there's
follows
nothing
and the
I'm about to
marketing
post
is
this
heat.
next week.
She be on it. She is downplaying herself.
Maybe
Consistency
it's because
on the inform and all
my
of that.
personal page isn't consistent.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe the personal pages, but
That's
ours, you be killing it. So yeah, consistency, knowing what you're doing. She got it.
keywords. Hashtags don't
But
matter
yeah,
anymore
but to her point, yeah, I think when we came in, it was a different time. And yeah, just like you said, the algorithm not being so confusing at that point in time.
Yeah,
Like
helped
it helped
a lot.
tremendously. So like that trending sound. So oh my gosh, was that last year? Last April?
Was that last
I
year?
think that was last year. So last April, crazy, right? So last April, trending sound, you know, follow this artist before they blow up or something like that. And she was like, we need to do this sound. This is the one.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, why do we have to do this kind of thing? And we did it, and we went from 2,000 followers to 20,000 from that one. Because again, trending sounds, the algorithm wasn't all extra, the climate was different, everything. It was just kind of right place, right time, and it worked out. But if I'm to give any sort of recommendation now, one of the things that's helped us continue either maintaining or growing on social media is trying to get those face-to-face interactions, whether it is going to conventions, your local bookshop, whatever, and getting people on your mailing list and then guiding them to your social media. That extra layer of connection and kind of personal experience has worked wonders, because although sure, the numbers look great on social media, what does the engagement actually look like?
Right.
So that extra, right. And so more times than not, a lot of the people that we've met at the conventions, they're the ones that are like, I enjoy talking to you. I want to keep talking to you. So I'm going to comment on these posts, right? So if there's anything that I can add to what she said, it would just be go, talk to people, tell them what you do, and get them on your personal mail list because you can control that, and then get them to your social media. Because if they took the time to go to your website and then go to your social media,
But also both.
But both works,
The
yeah.
big goal of social media is to bring people to your stuff.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what will happen at any point in time
That's
with social
true.
media and the algorithm. So you really want to get people on your mailing list, on your website, and all that kind of stuff.
Social media guru.
Right.
Not
Y'all emails
to
are
the
fire.
I am
Thank
listening
you.
to them. I am not one.
Thank you, though.
Yeah, I enjoy getting y'all emails. Like I be studying y'all emails. Like them joints be y'all be doing great with the email, like the visuals of the emails and everything, and like that's fire.
See, I'm personally excited because I
He does
do
the
the
emails.
emails,
I
and I
just
was
look
so worried that I was like, these are garbage. No, this is not good. Thank you. That is a boost of
he
confidence.
does most of the emails. I just look over them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the emails are tough. I definitely love the emails. So
Thank you.
I'm sorry for all the questions. I know I told you it was going to be 3 questions, kind of make it a conversation, but you guys have really made this really interesting conversation. So the question I had that I got from what you guys was just saying is cons.
Mhm.
What are some advice you would give to, creators that's setting up at cons or that want to set up at cons?
Oh man. Um, I have several answers, but I want to make sure that I'm not rambling. So when you say that want to set epic cons, are we talking about trying to figure out which ones to go to type situation or just what to expect?
Let's say, I want both. I want both.
Okay. Um,
We're still learning which cons to go.
so yeah, we're still learning, but if I am to recommend one, definitely DreamCon. That has been the absolute best. But in regards to what to expect there, you got to get a lot of no's, and it's okay. It's okay. Don't get discouraged. And your price is your price.
Please.
Even talking partially to myself here, but I know I'm not the only one that goes through this. We went to Brooklyn Comic Con. We decided to sell the volumes, and a comic book shop owner told us I would never buy something at that price. And immediately I was like, oh, that was stupid of me. How dare I try to charge this amount? This is stupid. But not thinking about like the 50, 60 plus people, but by the time that conversation happened, that was like, oh, that's it? I'll gladly buy this. Right. And so don't get discouraged. Your price is your price. Nobody else can tell your story. And even if there's something similar out there again,
Convention specific.
say again.
It's a convention. It's not writing.
No, I know. I'm just saying when you're telling people your story and stuff like that, like it's your own unique thing. So be excited about it. And whoever buys it, that's your customer. That's your customer. There's gonna be a lot of no's, but it's okay. I was gonna ramble again. There we go.
I mean, that's life though. No's. There's a
No's
lot
are
of
gonna
no's in
happen.
life.
Getting yeah, I don't know about which ones to get into. Sign up early. As soon as you hear about it, ask around, ask people about conventions. Oh, I can't answer that one. Niche conventions.
If you don't
If
fit the
you
niche,
don't fit the niche, do not waste your money. You we learned the hard way. It was good experience. It wasn't a mistake. It was good experience. We got to meet a lot of people. It was awesome. We got good data. We got a good little bit of people on our mailing list and stuff like that. But lesson learned, if you don't fit the niche, don't spend the money. So just learn to read the room, know which one, get an idea, sake of conversation, right? We asked Lonzo, we asked Vandal, several others, hey, what's Brooklyn Comic Con like? Should we go? Overwhelmingly, yes, you should go. Okay, what should I look out for? Because they had been there. So ask around, verify, and even if it's one that everybody's gonna be at, is your customer base there? Look at your data. Look at, like, for us, we're based in Georgia, but our largest customer base is New York and Texas and then Georgia. So if there's a convention,
Texas makes sense, isn't it?
now Texas makes sense because we've been to DreamCon a lot. But right, but the fact that we Slick use two different systems, right? We have Square for when we go to conventions, but we have Wix, and you go on Wix and you look at the data, and it's like, whoa, a lot of people from Texas are still coming back and buying stuff outside of just meeting us at the conventions. But again, New York, Texas, and then Georgia. So yeah, it makes sense. Am I going to go to Seattle just randomly and the numbers don't, the data's not there? Probably not. right? Am I saying that they won't buy? They might, but is it worth spending all that money to go out there? Probably not. So gauging and figuring out, again, who's been there, what that previous audience was like, asking around. It requires us to really ask those, and again, talk about what we talked about earlier, work coming together as a community and helping each other out, like being able to offer up that information. Did you do good? Yes or no? It shouldn't be a secret, you know. So for us, if we're talking about niche conventions, to be honest, we went to Ranger Stop and Pop last month. Last month? No, the month before last. Whatever it was, earlier this year, we went to Ranger Stop and Pop, and dadgummit, we didn't make parking back. Okay, it was bad. It was bad. But it's a learned experience. So would I say, all right, hey, bro, you should go there next. You don't have a Power Ranger story. Why would I tell you to fly on out and come on down there? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So it's being humble enough, to have these conversations. I know we're talking about conventions specifically, but it just kind of goes all around. Being humble enough to be able to provide that information for that next person so that they can see. A friend of mine used to say we should fail together so that we can grow faster. Right. And so that's, so with the conventions, I say ask around, talk to your peers. Did you do good? Yes or no? That'll help you make your decision. If you've got the data to look and see where your more frequent purchases or buyers and all that is, reflect the kind of cross-reference all that. I'm rambling. You gave me the tap. I'm sorry.
I wasn't tapping you for that, but it's okay. I was gonna say, and some of the stuff is stuff we learned from our business coach in a cohort that we were in earlier this year. She said, make sure you get data, do experiment, look at different things, put it all together, see what makes more sense. Even when it comes to going to conventions, think about your overhead.
Oh my God.
What's it going to cost you to get there? What's it going to cost you to get your stock? And what is the possible
projection amount?
Yeah, projection amount that you'll make. And not just total. You have to subtract the money you spent.
Right.
What did I say earlier?
I don't recall. Profit,
right. You have to look at your profit margin. What's your profit margin after you spent that? Say you sell everything you brought with you. What's your profit margin? Right. What are you profiting? What is the number you have left when you subtract everything you spent?
Yeah. One of the things that we've seen, and I hope we're not taking too long on this at all.
Oh, you guys are good. I'm loving the information.
Oh, yeah. Okay, perfect. So one of the things that we've noticed, just talking to kind of just not even just comic creators, but just creators and vendors as a whole, some of the conversations have been interesting because it's like, they'll be like, I did good. And you're like, okay, but what does that mean? Let's, and I always preface, like, I'm not trying to be in your pockets, right? But, let's actually talk about how much you spent to get here, reiterating what she said. How much did you spend to get here? How much did you spend on the books, right? How much did you, table, books, flight, hotel, Uber, food, all of that. And now look at what did you actually make? Did you do good? Now, is it good that you got your mailing list up? Yes. Is it good that a bunch of people bought your stuff? Yes. But can you afford to do this again?
Right.
Next month?
If you spent,
did you pay yourself? That's something that a lot of people don't get a chance to do. We didn't learn.
There's something else our business coach was
like, did you guys pay yourselves? And it was like, pay ourselves? What? I bought food. You know what I mean? Like, I bought food for myself. Yeah, I guess. No. Did you pay yourself for the hours worked? Holy crap. Right. We should. Holy crap. No, we didn't do that. And so when you do all of that, then it's like, okay, am I in the green? I paid myself. I paid all this stuff back. I put the money back towards going to the next convention. I'm able to go home and pay my bills with this, so on and so forth. Did you actually do that? Now we revert back to the question, did you in fact do good? Did you do good?
And is it worth coming
back? And is it worth coming back? We shouldn't just spend our money to go to a convention to say you were there, to say that you were part of. Did it make sense? Did it make sense? So anyway, hope we didn't spend too much time, but that was, yeah. Yeah.
No, that was a great answer. I'm loving it because I told you this is all about just giving to not only let creators, talk and tell people about themselves and promote themselves and give their experiences, but it's also for creators to, watch this and kind of gain some knowledge, like you said, like learn about cons and going out. So somebody could literally watch this video and be like, oh, snap, he's right. I can't just go to the con just to go to the con. You feel me? So like I love all the information you gave. Don't worry about rambling. I ramble all the time, rambling now. So you don't gotta worry about that. But yeah, that was a great answer. Thank you for that information.
Thank you.
And I do want to say, add in too, I think it's something a lot of comic book creators don't think about, because we don't think about some of the things other businesses think about when we're doing these things. And that's how we end up sitting for years, not able to do this full time.
Yeah.
And we got to start pivoting and changing our mindset so that we can.
Because a lot of us grow horizontally or what's the word? Not, well, I guess we kind of grow horizontally, but we're not thinking right. One of the things we kept learning or kept hearing was, how do you reach your optimal outcome, right? And just going to a convention and just pushing the next book out, that's not helping us reach it. Is it actually viable? Are people buying it? One of the things that we are going to personally start stepping back on, I really love David Crowdson and how he's really allowed people to read and digest Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer, right? Or Demon Hunter. What he's doing with that story is, I mean, lack of a better word, he's able to milk it. He's able to, hey, you're going to read this volume. I'm going to show up at every convention with this. I think he's just now about to do volume 2, right? But it's been like 2-3 years. That's brilliant. Because now when it's like, I'm about to get this next one done, you've made that back and then some. You can just throw money at that next book and you're good, right? But a lot of us, if we're, talking about ourselves for a moment, I know when we first started, I was like, I want to be like Concrete. I want a lot of books now. I want a lot of books right now. How do I get as many titles? It's just 2 of us. How can I get as many titles as them right now, immediately? Thus, Tales from Midnight was born. Okay. And that was part of the strategy where it was like, well, let's get 4 short stories in that one book. So we pop out and everybody's like, dang, y'all got 4 titles already. How long have I been in business? A year. Then we come out with Tales from Midnight 2. Okay, now we have 7 titles, not including the manga, 8 titles. We have 8 titles right off rip. And if you want to count Tales from Midnight in and of itself as a title, we got 9 titles 2 years in. It looks good. It looks good. You know what I'm saying? And we learned early on, perception is reality. So it's thinking about those strategies. Now, what's the smart thing to move forward with now is not trying to out the gate, let's get all 9 stories worked on at the same time. No. Financially, it's not it no. It's not it doesn't make sense. Right. And so what we did is no, sorry. What we decided to do, you threw me off. You were so beautiful. I'm sorry. She gave me the look and we locked eyes for 2 seconds. It's just like, oh, sorry. So what we did with Tales from Midnight 1 is we did a poll and we allowed our audience to decide what stories are to come out next. And so that's why Soul and the Gray are the characters that we're pushing, because our community said those are the stories we want. Okay, cool. The other stories are getting written. The other stories are getting worked on. But y'all want that story? That's what you're going to get, right? And so even in the background, we can still say, yeah, we got 9, 10 titles. These are the 2 that got issued 2s, 3s, so on and so forth. So it still looks good, but we're not overextending ourselves at the same time. So anybody that's just coming in, again, definitely recommend. Tell short stories. We went back and reread some of our old Marvel DC books. We sitting here, we're breaking the bank trying to put 20-something actual pages of story when Marvel DC only giving us 10 to 12, and everything else is ad space.
Right.
Everything else is ad space. You know how many stories we could have came out with if we did like Marvel DC?
Ads in there.
If we acted like Marvel and DC, do you know how many books any of us in this space could come out with? But we hold ourselves to a different caliber, right?
To be fair,
in indie, we all, the whole point is to try to be better than them, right? But we're trying to set ourselves apart. But we don't set ourselves apart. We're going to do better. We can do better. We're going to continue to do better. But we don't have to stress ourselves out. I'm reminded even in this conversation, So many people fell in love with the Gray. But her issue 0 is 4 pages. So although Tales from Midnight 1 is like a 40-page book, her story was 4 pages long, and she is the second favorite character in Midnight Comics right now.
Says something.
Which says something. I thought the Blue Morpho was going to be it. Blue Morpho was like 9 pages, and I was like, yeah, this is the one. The action. She's connected to the Butterfly. Y'all could go back and read Butterfly 1 and 2 and then pick Blue Morpho up and be like, oh, snap, it's a whole universe. The Gray. 4 pages. I wasn't mad about because she's my favorite character. So it doesn't take much to tell a good story. It doesn't take much to tell a good story. So we don't have to stress ourselves out about page count and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah.
I will say we could have written some slightly better stories.
We could have written some slightly better stories. It took a little longer.
The stuff out.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely wanted a bunch of content super quick. Super quick. But it doesn't take all that. Take your time. Tell a good story and run with it. Make it make sense for you. So anyway.
All right, so I was gonna go into my last question, but while you guys were talking, I got another question.
Okay.
So with having a lot of stories, I struggle with this myself. Like, how do you juggle not the production side of the story, but like the writing side of the story? So when you have all these stories, like, are there some days you like, okay, I want to write Soul today, and then you spend like a week on that? Or does it like some days it's like one day is Soul, and then the next day, hey, you may go start writing more for Gray, or you might write more for Beloved. So how do you guys juggle like just the writing process of having so many stories?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's what do I feel like writing?
Yeah.
What am I in the mood to write right now?
Yeah. Exactly what I was going to say. Just it's one of those, because we have especially now that we have such a cushion, it's just one of those, we go back occasionally and reread our stuff. It's just like, ooh, I have an idea for this now. Like, let me go back and do, but honestly, it's just, if we got writer's block with one, we just move on to another one, or we might have just watched, again, like we were just watching The Boys and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, I'm in the mood for more superhero story. What hasn't been worked on in a second? And we could almost throw a dart at the board and say, you know what, that's what we're working on today. We could.
But what we want to write, what we want to work on it.
So we're working on a new story, the one that we alluded to, which we haven't officially announced yet, but the one that we alluded to. And like, we got done writing that. And I think, me personally, I was like, dang, I want to stay in this era of story, if that makes sense, and so I'm going back and writing more, or looking at, anyway, The Last Day again. Giving hints slick. In hindsight, you guys would be like, oh snap, but you have no idea right now. But yes, like, I'm going back to The Last Day, and I'm just like, man, this story, I love the direction now, later on writing, right? Like, a lot of stuff we wrote years ago at this point, to go back with how we write now and add that extra there's little extra tidbits and details and stuff here, has been awesome. So to answer your question, it's just, I woke up today and was just like, you know what, I'm supposed to work on Soul, but actually I want to work on the Unbeloved, and it's just, I'll just go for it.
Or when we're watching Go Go Loser Ranger.
We're watching Go Go Loser Ranger.
Because we have the Super Sentai we announced last year. That's, we're still writing, and be like, okay, well, what can I fix with that?
Right.
Because now, I'm in the mood for Super Sentai because
we just watched it. Right.
So good.
So yeah, we just let whatever we're watching kind of dictate sometimes what we want to work on. Like,
or just ideas.
Oh my gosh, we're watching a horror movie. It's like, ooh, I have an idea for Raven's Omen. Like, here's something I haven't seen in a comic book yet. So, but yeah.
The worst part is, oh man, I just got a new idea for a news story.
That's our problem. We were talking about not strategy, but we were trying to come up with a game plan for one story, and accidentally in the same sentence was just like, idea for a new project. That whole project got pushed to the side, and we said, all right, so idea for a new story, and just,
figured out the story,
outlined
how
it.
it's gonna go.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't written it yet, but we already know
that's
exactly
our
how it's gonna
problem.
go.
Stories.
We're working on the grade.
comes so easy for us. Like it comes so easy. So it's not even for us trying to find the time to write the new story. It's trying to make sure not to accidentally make new stories when we're supposed to be working on the actual ones. I think that's the hardest part.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, like I was saying initially, like if we run into writer's block, it's just a matter of, oh, I don't like that right now. That one, let's go there, and just the ideas will just flow and just I don't know. We just kind of go into I don't know if trance is the right word, but we just kind of go on automatic
It's like
pilot
how I
points.
read.
It's like how you read. Yeah.
We write how I read sometimes, where it's just like I'm in it and you can't take me out of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going.
But you just gotta let it happen. Like that's where we're finally at, where it's just like if I don't have anything in the tank, then it's not getting worked on. If it's just like I really want to write today. Ooh, we really want to write today, but I don't know what to write, then don't write.
Yeah.
Don't force it, right? But when you got it, dadgummit, you better have a pen and paper. It's time. It's time. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this time I actually am gonna move into my final question. So my final question is just if you could give somebody that's just starting out or yourself when you started out advice, what would that advice be?
My favorite thing to say every time is just do it. You will figure it out along the way. You are going to run into hiccups. You will be discouraged, but you are going to have those highs and lows. Just do it.
Reach out to people in the space when you do it because that'll help.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are those of us who will help.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody is terrible. most everybody is great.
Yes. So don't be scared. Just do it.
Just do it. I like it. I like it. But once again, I would like to thank y'all for coming on to my conversations with creators. I was really excited to have both of y'all on to get, the perspective of not just like Black creators, but a couple that are creators and also a female creator. So like we knocked out like 3 birds with one stone with this interview. So that's what's up. So I really want to thank y'all for coming on.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem at all. So this is the part where y'all can shameless plug whatever you want to plug. Instagram, Twitter, any news stories you want to say that's coming out, any Kickstarters, whatever.
You do that. You
Okay.
have to announce
Okay. So I say this a lot. I'm the Mark Ruffalo, Tom Holland here. So I'm so quick to be like, oh, I got that brand new, Spider-Man 8 dropping in August. You know what I'm saying? No, so
and he fought Rhino and then
right, and then I get the whole spoiler for the movie. But first things first, of course, you guys can check us out at midnightcomics.org. You can find us on social media as midnightxcomics everywhere except for Facebook and YouTube. If we are to shamelessly plug something that's about to go down here, we are doing a 4-year celebration next month. Will officially be 4 years on the 5th, but the celebration will be on the 16th. As again, we're celebrating 4 years. We're gonna have loads of announcements then. But I can talk about Soul Issue 3 debuted at BlurredCon. So Soul Issue 3 is done, it's out. Some people have it in their hands. Expect in August that will hit the website officially. So I can talk about that.
Yeah.
That's all I could talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to look at Boss Lady here to make sure, because otherwise I'd be like, and Unbeloved 18 is about to drop. And I was
So for more awesome announcements, look out for our 4-year anniversary celebration, because there'll be a lot of stuff then.
And join the mailing list so you know when. And you'll also get a free book by joining the mailing list, which happens to be Soul Issue 1.
Exactly.
So there we go.
Hey, cool. So
Huh?
Don't you have the next season of Melanin?
I'm not done recording.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm still recording for that.
I apologize.
But you can check out old episodes of Melanin Minds on YouTube and Spotify.
Definitely, yeah. So y'all should definitely check out everything they do. They have podcasts, they sell comics, they do a lot. So everybody should definitely check them out. And once again, thank y'all for coming on. This has been a really dope episode, and thank y'all. Any final words?
Yeah. Thanks for having us on, and to everybody watching. Remember, until next time, midnight is coming.
Cool.